Okay, our guest for today is Ryan Battles. He is the marketing director of Wastebits, a company that helps manufacturers improve their efficiency with waste management. And Ryan, thank you for being here. And I will leave you the floor to introduce yourself a little bit better.
Great, thank you, John. So yes, I work for a company called Wastebits, and we started as some software developers who got together with some waste management professionals. And what happened there, this was on a program called Startup Bus. It was like a startup idea pitch kind of thing. And it was over 10 years ago. So what happened was this company started, and the goal was to replace kind of the manual paper processes that a lot of waste management companies used at the time for approvals. Anytime waste was being sent to the landfill from an organization, they had to have it profiled and approved to go to the landfill. And there's a lot of recurring waste streams, and so software was great for that because we could have people clone a previous waste and just kind of automate the process. So we built this software foundation that we've continued to evolve over the years, and we found that it also lays a great foundation for when companies, let's say manufacturers, they want to up their sustainability efforts, maybe reduce the amount of waste that they're sending to landfills. Well, our software is perfect for tracking how much you're sending to landfills and how much waste you have. But more importantly, for some of these larger corporations, they have various locations and various sites with different needs and different waste streams. But they were able to finally see like kind of an overview across the organization of where certain things were. And so using that software, we were able to start to pinpoint maybe where some efficiencies can be found, but using the industry knowledge that some of our founders have and some people that we've brought on the team since then, we'll take walks through the facilities and just be like, oh, are you throwing that away? Well, this can be recycled, or we know somebody who can take that from you. And in some cases, we'll take something that a company was just throwing away and paying money to send to a landfill, and actually find a vendor who will take that from them and pay them for it. So, if we can reduce the amount of money that they're paying for waste, keeping it out of landfill, and maybe even turning it into a profit for them, all the better. So we're seeing that with the companies that we work with. But again, it all started with the software that kind of underlies it all. So it's a combination of software and services that we found ourselves in today.
Great. And what would you say your typical client is?
It used to be waste management companies who were using our software, but now that we are, and then waste brokers started using it to kind of manage both sides of the process. But right now, we're landing a lot of major manufacturers, some that we are not allowed to name, but they're definitely household names. If you look on our website, there's a handful of logos. There are people from Disney, Google, Tesla, Amazon. These are either direct clients of ours or clients of our clients that are using our software to manage their waste. So there are large corporations out there that are using the software.
Yeah, that's great. And can you give us a few examples, perhaps, of issues that you guys were able to solve for some of your clients?
Sure. Yeah. So there's a manufacturer that we're working with right now, where again, they're one of the ones that don't really want us broadcasting their name too much. But we went through one of their main sites and noticed that there was a lot of issues that could potentially be fines. Let's see, I can pull up some of the stats right here. Yeah. So up to 350,000 a year in potential fines for some of the waste that they were storing and handling the waste that was on their site. We also provide industrial cleaning services. So that was another opportunity that we saw. There were some inefficiencies with the ways that they were doing it before. So we help them with scheduling and logistics to get some of those industrial cleaning. These are things like spraying up the big tanks that they have on their site. Just some of the routine maintenance, instead of waiting for it to either happen, an emergency, which would cause downtime in the production cycle, or a scheduled maintenance where there is downtime. What we were able to do is find the optimal times to do those shutdowns, get a team in there to do the cleanup, to really reduce. And according to our calculations, that was about a $250,000 a year savings through reduced downtime that we were able to get some of their industrial cleaning done. And then just a handful of other things. I always like to talk savings. I'm in marketing. I think I said that when I introduced myself, but I am the marketer at Wastebits. So, anytime I hear that we're saving people money, that's the greatest thing, because I can just say, like, look, it sells itself. We don't just come in and say, hey, give us money for our service. It's like, no, we want to be your partner. We want to help you to save money and to be greener, and we'll get into some of that and what maybe greenwashing is, but we with our software we can provide real data and real savings. So this other example of savings was they were sending 500,000 pounds of a certain type of product into a landfill every year that we knew was recyclable. So we were able to take that, say, okay, now here's a system for how you can capture that, and that was $100,000 a year annual savings for them to not send that to the landfill anymore. So a handful of things there that are just hard numbers, but mostly, the other thing we do is we make sure that they're in compliance. We make sure that things are safe, stored properly, labeled well. Those are part of our sustainability walkthrough services. But then we take our network of vendors and the industry knowledge that we have, including the software, and then we help get more of their waste out of landfill, put more money back in their pockets, give them certificates of recycling, things that are good for their board meetings. So yeah, when you asked who our ideal customer is, it's these manufacturers that might have a couple of sites, but we do have some that are just deploying it across one site, and that is super helpful for them, and they've given us great reviews of it. So, and they continue to stay on. So whether you're small or enterprise, that's what the software and services were built for.
Yeah, that's great. And waste management is something that's, I guess, been an issue for forever, really. So what do you think really sets you apart, guys, from the competition?
Yeah, so when I started working here, I had no waste knowledge. In fact, when they told me that this, I loved software, I was like very into tech, and they were like, we make software for the waste industry. I was like, that sounds like probably the most boring place I could work. But as I learned about waste, and as a residential user, I just throw things in the trash and just it magically disappears every week. And I think because my knowledge was so limited on it, that's why I felt it was a boring subject. But once I learned a lot more about, okay, well, what about like industrial waste and commercial waste and some of these like larger scale issues, and even on a municipal level, like where is all this garbage going that gets whisked away from our curbs? There's a lot going on there, and it's not all just going into landfills. Like I just kind of assumed it was all going to one big place, and we just piled dirt over it and turn it into a ski resort or something when we're done. That was literally a ski resort in Michigan that I skied on. That was a landfill that was turned back into a ski resort. It was great. But so what is it about Wastebits that sets us apart? Is it's really taking a strong technical background and infusing it with strong industry knowledge, because other people on our team, they did come from the waste management industry. These are people who are, higher up in some of these waste management companies. So they know the system. They have many, many years of experience, decades of experience. So yeah, when those two things combine, I think we have a really powerful product and a really powerful company. And it always blows my mind on both ends with the people I work with. From the technical side, some of the things that our programmers and our IT guys come up with, it is a crazy. It's blows my mind. It comes across very impressive to me. And then there's also the things that we're doing on the waste side. The industry knowledge that comes there, the things that I hear my boss saying, or some of the other guys over in that wing of things. I just realized, like, oh wow, you guys really know your waste. It's just these like obscure things, like the all about the different chemicals and the different makeups that go into certain things and what the regulations are on those. There's a wide array of knowledge that I didn't even realize was out there, but I continue to learn the longer I work here. But I would say that's the thing that sets us apart, is the technology with the industry expertise.
Great. So you already touched upon my next question. So the technology, of course, you guys are a software company as well. So what are the your biggest innovations, I guess, from a technical standpoint, especially now in the world of AI, where AI is everything and everywhere?
Right. Yeah. So definitely, as a software company, we are keeping an eye on the way things are progressing. When we first started, like the majority of people were using the like 5-ply carbon paper, where you write on one and then you tear off the paper underneath it. Like that was the technology that some of these companies were starting with when it came to their waste management practices. Waste manifests and waste stream approvals. So, we went from that to being software, which, is great. And that has been a step up for a lot of people. And then as the EPA, in the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency, if you are transporting hazardous waste anywhere across the country, you need to have a hazardous waste manifest. Well, that waste manifest needs to be registered also with the EPA so that they can maintain a database of how hazardous waste is moving across the country. In order to submit that, though, you have to pay a price, and there are various ways, or pay a fee, and there are various ways to send that in. When they first started, people were allowed to just mail in their paper manifest, and that would get sorted out. And I think they charged like $25 or more per manifest to do that. But then they had a system that you could log in, and you could maybe scan a scan of the manifest and then enter in all the information. Anyway, to not get too much into the nitty gritty there, there were reduced prices depending on how well you digitized the manifest on your end before submitting it to the EPA. So what we did was we built an integration directly into the EPA and had regular meetings with people at the EPA in order to get our software to just talk seamlessly with them. So now we have this thing called hybrid manifests where we can greatly reduce the fee down to the lowest tiers, and it automates it all. We have waste industry data entry team that is also there helping double checking everything. So we were able to go from the 5-ply paper to software to having like a services team to directly tying into the EPA. And now in the age of AI, we are starting to integrate that a little bit more into our processes as well. Just recently, in the last couple of weeks, we've been working with a support AI bot that we have on our site to help with support for our customers. And we have some, I guess I can't share too much of the ideas, but some more ideas of things to do moving forward. And I hate to overpromise, on anything. So, yeah, as we're moving forward, AI is definitely more and more a part of things. It's something we're keeping an eye on. But like I said, the savings that we can bring people when we go through and do those walkthroughs. One of the software tools that we partner with, they actually use AI to figure out, let's say, if you're trying to recycle your electronics, they can find out the makeup of the electronics, the different metals that are in those electronics, and then using AI try to figure out amongst their database, kind of cross reference, where you can send those materials, how much they would pay you for those recycled materials. The cross-reference that with the distances that you have to send those materials to be recycled. And it's just a lot of data to be processed, but yet with an AI tool, you can just kind of feed it the data and it can just go, boom, this is where you need to send this, or you need to send this here, but that there, and then that will be your net gain. So yeah, software is truly running the game and continuing to make things more efficient and provide better outcomes.
For sure. And my next question will be, what are the things that are working the best for you guys right now in your business?
We're finding a lot of success again with those facility walkthroughs, to the point where I'm we have a queue of customers that we're onboarding, and we'd love to talk to more, but we also can't take on a ton more because this is like a very hands-on process. And honestly, I've been in software for a few decades now, and I feel like just providing software is great, but there's often a missing piece of getting that to be implemented well and for it to be effective. So even just as like a user, I know I jump on software, I use it for a little bit, I stop using it. And they send the emails like, hey, do you know that you can do this with the software? And trying to like nudge you back in, but it's really hard to like be committed to using something without, someone on site or someone like kind of really encouraging or being a champion for that. So with our facility walkthrough services, not only do we pinpoint areas for improvement and help them implement that, sometimes hiring on new people to stay there at the facility and really ensure that things get implemented well. But again, the software backbone and the technology that we have, we now have somebody who can be there, be a champion, and promote, how to use it well and ensure success. And so, yeah, I would say that that is one thing that has been working really, really well for us is having boots on the ground, because again, we get these measurable differences. We build the relationships. Even as a marketer, I've been out to factories. I've been giving away T-shirts to employees as they come into their shifts, explaining to them new programs. The one I'm thinking of in particular is we rolled out this PPE recovery program at this one facility, where the employees, they have their gloves, their masks, their earplugs. It's a loud environment. It's a factory. And at the end of the day, they have to dispose of some of these items because they're disposable. Well, instead of throwing them in the trash, we now have these bins next to trash or next to where they get their PPE, and they can put it all in there. And one of the beautiful things about the program we've implemented that has ensured success is that instead of having to separate, like earplugs go here, gloves go here, goggles go here, it's, we have one bin that can take all of their PPE. They just have to toss it all in at the end of the day. So that was something that we were on site to kind of show them, get excitement for, explain to them like, okay, well, instead of throwing away the PPE and putting it into the landfill, and again, like it's a cost to the company, put it into this bin. We can take that, and we have a process with one of our partners where they can take that and use it as an alternative energy source for cement kilns. And so for the construction industry, they have to fire up cement to a super, super high temperature. And instead of getting more fossil fuels out of the earth, they're able to use some of the materials in PPE in order to make that high heat. And it's different from what some companies, some facilities use something called waste to energy, where they burn the trash and they use the energy from it. But that produces some pollution and what's called ash. So this process has almost, I think it's zero ash. It's either zero or like near zero ash for this process. So it's technically not waste to energy. It's technically not burning the trash. It's using it as an alternate energy source that is cleaner. And so that big win there. And that's all to do with us being on the floor and drumming up excitement from the workers there and maintaining the program.
Awesome. So now for the other side of the coin, I guess, what are the areas where you can see the most potential for improvement?
I would say scaling would probably be it, as the word starts to spread too. Like, so with that facility that I mentioned doing the PPE kind of kickoff, well, they were a multi facility group, and we were just in one of their facilities. So once we got things rolling there, their other parts of their plants, this was like one of their big plants. I think they have like 6 or 7. So we were, having success at that plant. Word was going to the higher ups, and now it's time to talk about, okay, do we start moving this to other plants? So I would say, yeah, what Wastebits I can foresee as an area for growth for us is implementing that scale, finding the right people with the right knowledge to be on the ground to work in the implementation to make everything successful. Because like I said, we started with the software. The software is pretty solid, and it's been refined, over the years. So I would say, like, yes, there's more growth in the software side, just as things change and there are new needs there, but definitely scaling the services that we have, I would say, would probably be our main area for growth moving forward, at least in the near term.
Okay, and speaking of this topic, where do you see Wastebits in the next 6 to 12 months?
Good question. I would say, well, we already have programs that are rolling out that will become more mature. So when I think of 6 to 12 months, I think, okay, well, this client, that we just started with, they're going to have a more mature program. It's going to be up and running smoothly. maybe expanding to a few more of their facilities. So, I mean, yeah, 6 to 12 months, I see the growth. I see new customers coming on. I see more and more people hearing about us. Our marketing efforts, since I'm the marketer, are very aggressive, strategic, very content heavy. Now the AI is here. I am leveraging it. We are a small team intentionally because the larger we get, the slower things seem to move. At least that's been my experience. So I love working for an agile team where each one of us puts in um, a significant amount of work, but we're each like experts in our own domain area. And so with marketing, I really try to leverage the AI to get more content out there and more interaction, and just leverage, being a part of a small team. So again, aggressive on the marketing. I think more and more people keep hearing about us. And yeah, as that happens, I think we'll become more of a household name. And we do have some partnerships with companies like Fastenal, who are already their industrial suppliers. They're already on the ground supplying inside of a lot of these factories, and so we partner pretty heavily with them. They introduce us to some of their customers, and we find a win-win where it's like, okay, Fastenal can be your supplier that brings in a lot of these materials, but they also work closely with us, and we can identify, which of the maybe the materials that you're buying can be recycled or recovered, or they're already on the ground there, so they just bring one of our people in to help with the walkthrough process and talk about where the improvements can be made.
Great. Is there any advice that you can give free of charge, I guess, to the listeners on how to better manage their waste? Something quick and practical, I guess.
Yeah, I would say the thing that that has actually just changed even me from a household standpoint in my own home is realizing like there's not just one place to throw garbage. I used to, before there were community recycling programs, and every once in a while when I travel, you go somewhere and it's like one bin for the garbage. Doesn't matter if it's recyclable or organic or yard waste, whatever, just like throw everything in one bin that gets taken away. Well, all those, that the landfill is not the optimal place to send organic waste. That's why we have composting facilities. It's not the optimal place to send your glass and aluminum. Those can be easily recycled. So, just even at home, starting to separate out, what we do with trash. So we've got like a drawer that's got the garbage in it. It's got both a garbage can and a recycling can, like right there. And then right next to that, we have a little bin for the compost. And then certain things like our Keurig pods, there's like a little bag that we specifically put those in that we can send those away, or the Nespresso pods. So like, each and every at home, like there are ways to reduce our waste stream. Now at a company level, we think exactly the same way, just on a bigger scale. It's we've worked with companies that have taken things like this one wire producing facility had a bunch of scrap metals, very valuable metals, but they were microscopic, and so this was a part of their process. Things like I'm trying to think of all the specific, like zinc and other copper, some other very specific valuable metals were being filtered out because they were just microscopic particles that were part of the manufacturing process. And so they had all this filter paper they were just, again, paying to get rid of. But there was a company out there that we knew of that we contacted that said, no, we have a process. We can actually extract some of those metals. We want all of your filtration material. So now, instead of sending stuff to landfill, they take this filtration material, sell it to this other company who then can extract the valuable minerals. So thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of the waste bin, just how can we actually find practical reuse applications for some of our waste so that we can, reduce the carbon footprint and send less to landfills.
Well, great stuff, Ryan. Thank you very much. And my next question will be, where can people find you and Wastebits as well?
Yep. So if you go to wastebits.com, just all one word, that's our website. And that is kind of our portal for all things Wastebits. You can learn about our services. In one of the ways that I organize the homepage is I found, we do reach out to a variety of people. Like I think during this call, I've mentioned, sustainability experts, people that work for waste companies, waste brokers. So there's a variety of customer types that we work with because they work with our software all in different ways. So I've designed our homepage so that when you go there, you should be able to see kind of which area you fall into if you deal with waste, and just kind of find which best represents you, click that, and then it'll show you what our products are. But also the easiest way to do this is to just book a demo. If anything that I mentioned here in this call sounds like it's something that your company needs, then just book a demo and just talk with one of our sales guys. Again, we're a small team, very laid back. It's not going to be high pressured sales. It's honestly, we're only looking for win-wins here. We want to come in, we want to help people. I'm very confident in our product. Again, that's why I have a smile on my face when I talk about it, because I know we're not pulling wool over anyone's eyes. We're just, honestly, we have a good product, we have a good service, and I think that we are making the planet better for it, making companies more successful. Again, with that one company that I had mentioned with those $350,000 potential fines, it's like there are tons of companies out there that are not quite doing it up to the standards that are out there. And the standards are there because they keep people safe, they keep the environment safe, and they're just a smart way to handle hazardous waste. So I love working here because I think that we really are making a difference, both from a financial standpoint, but from a green sustainability standpoint with companies. And the people I work with are smart, and I love seeing what we do. So head over to wastebits.com, book a demo, and see it for yourself.
All right, Ryan. Thank you very much for being here. It's been a pleasure, and see you next time.
All right. Thanks, John. Take care.